So welcome back. In this module, we will continue exploring data model. Well, we all familiar with these two terms like database design and data model. So let me pose a question. Are both same? Is database design same as database model? In fact, they are sort of, but not fully. So database design is not same as database model. Why are we saying so? So in database design, the task will be specific to any of the DBMS model. But in database model, in data model, it is neutral. It is not specific to any DBMS model. So in database model, design will happen against some of the DBMS like SQL, Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and so on. But in data model, the tasks start at a conceptual level, nothing to do with real database. So during the database design, we will need to have the primary key, foreign key, and relationship. But in data model, you will design as close as real world without worrying much about specific RDBMS. We don't care about what the database, what the relational database is. Instead, we will just model after the real world entities. Again, in database design, it goes below the table. It starts from schema to physical storage, need to implement product-specific restriction, constraints, and so on. So this gives you an understanding about what's the difference between database design and data model. So a data modeler can work just like we do handle with the real world entity at a high level, not specific to any database. We don't need to worry about the data types available or the constraints available, the capacity available, the relationship. The next question is, what constitutes a data model? Look at here. We have major data subjects, which is something like the entities or tables. Then we have attributes of data subjects. So attributes equal to database columns, fields. Think of a field with unique name. It is defined after entity is defined. Then we have relationship. We have different types of relationship. One to one, one to many, many to one. So we have the relationship that is called cardinality. Then we have business rules for our data. What is business rule? Is a mandatory or optional relationship, permissible attribute value, including nulls, then data change dynamics, referential integrity. Those are business rules for our data. So in all the data models, you will see data subjects, attributes of the data subjects, relationship, and business rules for our data. Now let's look into model types. This is very important. So the model starts from conceptual model, then logical model, then finally we create physical model, then we generate script for our database. So what is a conceptual model? The conceptual model is to establish the entities and their attributes and their relationship. So it is more resembles the real world entities, but comes to the logical model. The logical data model defines the structure of the data elements and set of relationship between them. So in the conceptual, we are going to entities, attributes, and the relationship. But in logical, it defines the structure of the data elements and sets the relationship between them. Okay. Then coming to the physical data model describes the database-specific implementation of the data model. Here, we don't care about any DBMS. Here, we don't care about DBMS. But in physical model, we are caring about the database, the relational database, which database we are going to go with, and maybe SQL, Oracle, or MySQL, or anything of that sort. So the physical data model describes the database specific implementation of the data model. So it will have its own data types, it will have its own constraints, it have a relationship, and so on. So we in the data model, there are three types of data model: conceptual data model, logical data model, physical data model. You know, normally the conceptual data model is created by the architects, then logical model, then physical model, more involvement of the DB expert because that is specific to some database models. Moving on, let's see the life cycle of a data model. To create a data model, first the business rules are gathered. Second, the logical constraints are created. Thirdly, the physical design is created. Then finally, the database is implemented. The steps are very straightforward. Get the business rules, create logical constraints, create physical design, and implement database design. Close this session, let's look into the basic data modeling concepts. So we have the model types, we have entities, we have tables, we have attributes, columns, then primary keys, relationship, and foreign keys. So we will learn more about the basic data modeling concept in the next module.